5 months, I went from run/walking about a mile in 20 minutes to covering over 2 miles, almost 2.5 miles in 30 minutes. Now, to an avid runner, that might not sound like much, but to me, that's a very big deal. I've always wanted to be a runner and I've always been active, but every time I'd try to start, becoming a runner, I either get knee pain and have to, stop, back off, or I just get bored. At one point, I figured out that I could run for about 20 minutes and I wouldn't develop knee pain. That was kind of my threshold, but that got boring really quick. I didn't want to run faster for 20 minutes. I wanted to become a runner and run like 5Ks and maybe even a marathon one day. I knew these people and I kind of envied these people who could run for hours in nature and experience the euphoria of a runner's high.
Maybe for you, it's similar with money, right? Yeah, you get to a certain point before it's painful, so you back off. Or maybe you reach a plateau, get bored, or might even stop altogether. You'll see others who seem to be making such great progress in building their wealth, but that's not you. And they get to experience things you're still dreaming about. Ever felt that way? And if you want a wealth builder's high where you're excited about the next time you get to engage with money, then this is the place to be. If you're ready to become a wealth builder like Amanda was ready to become a runner and is ready, which I'm proud of, being a runner, I've been wanting her to do that forever. You're in the right place. This is your episode. Just like Amanda becoming a runner, I'm excited for you to become a wealth builder.
Hi, and welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast. We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go, you need wealth wisdom. Please hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for being here. Please give us a like and a comment below.
So this month we're doing 5 episodes around the theme of throwing spaghetti.
Stop.
At the wall. Literally stop. But a lot of people, this is what they're doing with their finances, with their health, with all kinds of things. And we want this to stop. This is ridiculous. In the last episode, we talked about variable income and how to get boring rather than creative with the funds coming into your life whenever it's up and down like a roller coaster. And today we're doing another big area where lots of people throw spaghetti at the wall. And that's how you approach building wealth from the start, building the foundational tools. You can think of this episode as geared specifically towards beginners, but it's not just for beginners. Runners could probably learn a lot from this episode, maybe. They're probably already doing it. But we encourage more advanced wealth builders to listen in as well for clues as to how they might improve their journey as well, how to make some little adjustments.
Yeah, so let me take you back to previous times when I tried to become a runner. One time, I just started running. Didn't even think about it. I was like, if I want to be a runner, I got shoes, I got clothes, I can just start running.
You're like Forrest Gump?
Right, kind of. But then my knees would start hurting and I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not a runner, and I'd give up. But then I'd get that little inkling in me again, and I would want to do it again. And there's one time when I figured out that if I ran only for 20 minutes and didn't run beyond 20 minutes, that my knees wouldn't hurt. That was kind of my threshold. Get to 20 minutes, good. But I got really bored just running for 20 minutes. You don't get that euphoria, that runner's high nearly as much. And I didn't want to run faster for 20 minutes. It's not what I was trying to do. I wanted to become a runner that could run for hours in nature and, whatever I wanted. I wanted that kind of longevity to it. Yeah. So I figured out that I couldn't keep approaching it haphazardly. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of how I intentionally chose to learn how to run this time. And then Brandon's going to relate it to how you could intentionally choose how to build wealth. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay. So first, I've heard people say that when you're a runner, a lot of it's mental and right, you can run a lot longer than you think you can because your mind, if it has the ability to do that, you can. And I also realized that maybe there was some confidence things, but there could also be some physical things because I did have bad knees, hereditary kind of idea. And so I actually hired a personal trainer, not just any personal trainer, a very specific personal trainer that talked to me a little bit more about confidence building and mindset type things. We did some movement, not very strenuous movement. It was more about when you move, how does this make your brain feel? What kind of thoughts do you feel? Those kind of things. And then we joined a gym, and I joined the gym with the confidence to join it, to get going on this journey of becoming a runner. And those things cost money, but they were really important to me because they helped me do the prep work that I needed to do mentally and check in on physically, right? Do I need to maybe get a better running technique, things like that. And also because I was putting money toward it, I took it a lot more seriously, dedicated a lot more time to it, listened more carefully when I'm talking to people, all those kind of things. How would you relate that to money?
Well, first off, I was just thinking about this just now as going in the military and being in the Marine Corps. They would push you. You would think you could accomplish certain things, but then in that 3-month period, you were able to accomplish so much more. And there are these things that we're going to talk about that they did in boot camp. So one of them is that prep work, right? Putting in the money, whether it's the uniform, the shoes, the tools that you need to be able to do this stuff, right? I didn't know how to exercise in the beginning, but put the tools around us, like the uniform. What we could do with money is, how do you have the budgeting tools or the tracking system, the ways to make sure that you're on track? And you need to set that up. Again, a budget is kind of looking at past things, right? But putting that in place and investing maybe into a software that will help you, or Excel or something.
Yeah. And of course, you don't want to pay for something unless you're really going to use it. So make sure you're not like buying the running shoes and then never going running. Like, don't buy the software and then never use it.
Yeah, expensive running shoes then.
Yeah. So that was prep work. Number 2 is I dedicated time. We sat down us and we talked about, when are we going to go to the gym? Of course, with the personal trainer, I had to book time with her, right? We had a set time that we met weekly for, I think, about 6 weeks. And then, of course, we decided when we go to the gym, here's when we're going to go. And I have it dedicated. I know this is my running time. And then I make that happen. I do a little bit of, work ahead of time to make sure I'm ready to run, right? I got to set the scene. I got to pack my bag to take to the gym. I've got to have the right tools to make the running work, all those kind of things. So it's kind of the setting the scene before even the dedicated time as well.
Yeah. I think that's, again, setting the scene when it comes to our finances is so important, and making sure that you're actually doing this on the regular. Again, I see this where people 30 years down the line say, where did it go? What happened? And they never did the things on a monthly consistent basis to get there.
Or even weekly.
Or weekly, yeah. Monthly, weekly, quarterly, something, at least putting those times in place. So you want to set the scene. Where does that look like? How are you going to do this? How does it look, feel, all of that stuff to make sure, but you have to put that time on your calendar. If you don't do it, again, you could have hopeful dreams of becoming a runner, but if you don't actually set the time to run, you're not a runner.
Right. Or if I was only running once a month, I would never become a runner, right? You got to put in the reps. Which now leads me to number 3. I did micro adjustments. So I started in that place of run, walk, run. And we have laps in or like a track in our gym. I could run a lap, walk a lap, run a lap, walk a lap, run a lap, and 5 laps would get me a mile. So I started there, just saw, where am I at now? So I would do that. 20 minutes it took me to go all 5 laps. So it's like, okay, here's my starting point. Yep. And then I started making tiny shifts. I would try to run a little bit faster, try to run a little bit longer rather than a full lap, maybe a little bit more than the lap, right? And then a little bit longer the next time, and walk the rest still, and keep going. And I eventually, over those 5 months, worked it up to where I was running it would have been like 4 minutes kind of to do 20 minutes. I went to 5.5 minutes of running and then 30 seconds of walking. And so it was a 6 minute, interval kind of thing. And I would do that 5 times to get to 30 minutes. And it showed my, how many laps I did, ended up being more than 10, 12, 13, somewhere around in there. And that was really fun. It was cool to actually see that. And remember those knee issues, I didn't have any pain because I kept building the muscles around those knees, getting them to where they wanted to be by making those small micro adjustments.
Yeah, I think about this again in the military and the Marine Corps of going in the beginning and then 3 months later realizing and coming out and people are like, wow, you're a different person. You've changed. You are not the same. We didn't notice as we were going through the process that was happening, right? Same with our money. We might not even notice that we are big runners, right? But it's those 1% adjustments. And then you kind of look back over a year, you might be like, wow, how did I get this far? Right. And so those micro adjustments, those 1% adjustments can be huge. So track those and see those. But it's about just, again, showing up, doing the little things.
Yeah. And science tells us that's how real long-term change happens, is in small adjustments over a long time rather than like an overnight change. So if you're trying an overnight change, try the other way, see if you actually get somewhere. And then the fourth thing, flow. I wanted that runner's euphoria, that high, that brain chemistry stuff that happens. And I knew I would get that even in 20 to 30 minutes if I could get into the state of flow. And there's a couple of things that really helped me get into that state of flow where time just seemed to pass. It seemed to be easy and I was feeling good, right? Kind of lost in it. The first one was music. I love music. Music helps me feel good. So I had my earbuds in, had the music going, and like energizing type music. And that would also keep me from being distracted by all the noises in the gym, right? There's a lot of other people around. People would be running by. I'd have to run by other people. Their exercise classes you could hear, so on and so forth. And then one of the cool things we had at the gym is when I'm on one of the straight stretches of the track, there are windows at the end and the window panes make a T. And so I was able to focus right at the middle of that T as I'm running along that stretch. My eyes, when I look there, I would notice I run a little faster. It's a little easier to run. I am just more likely in the state of flow when I've got my eyes fixed. And then I would just kind of go with it. Sometimes a thought about work would pop into my head, or I'd start worrying about something. And I just recognize the thought, thank it for being there, let it pass on, rather than trying to like control my thoughts or think about certain things. I would just let my mind do what it wanted to do. And that has really tremendously helped me. 30 minutes doesn't feel like 30 minutes by the time I'm done. And I'm feeling really good for a couple hours afterward.
Yeah, again, going with this and money is, that focus, follow one course until success is really important. And having the right music or things to help you make sure you're in the right place. And again, refocusing on your goals. Again, I see this all the time where people don't have the goals or the plan set in place to actually move in that direction. Again, setting the time, but focusing on, am I going in the right direction that I want to?
Yeah. So, and then I have learned that I want to always be listening to music whenever I'm doing any kind of budgeting or bookkeeping or tracking of my money. Music is always there and it helps make it way more enjoyable. Okay. Now, number 5. I talked about how I hired a personal trainer. And then when we joined the gym, we got a couple training sessions with their personal trainers at the gym for free. And that was included with our membership or whatever, 2 sessions when we first started. And that was really good. I'm really glad that I worked with those people. If you want a reference to one of those, the first one that does more like mindset and confidence type building while moving, would love to refer you to her. She's amazing. But the second one told me also about a tool that I could use that has been revolutionary. So there's this guy that is an Olympic marathon runner, and he was the originator of the whole idea of run, walk, run. What I'd kind of intuitively started doing, every time I tried to run. And she told me about it, and I found his information, downloaded his app that I have on my phone, that there's music playing, and he pops in there with little coaching tips along the way about form or just little encouragements. But the cool thing is that I can say, here's how fast I want to run and for how long, here's how fast I want to walk and for how long, and then I can adjust it as I go, and it tracks those micro adjustments for me. An amazing tool. The guy's name is Jeff Galloway.
I was wondering if you're going to say it.
Well, I was leading to the end. You can find him, jeffgalloway.com. We'll put a link below. We're not getting sponsored by him or anything like that. Just it was a tool that really helped me with running, and I'm probably going to be recommending it to a lot of people because it was super helpful.
Yeah, I might even try it. I've not looked at it yet, but I know Amanda's running a lot more. So, and I've been trying to get you doing that for years. So yeah, jeffgalloway.com. I think having a coach, an ally, or somebody, a drill instructor maybe helps you. Maybe not a drill instructor, but having
people might like that.
Yeah.
For their
and
money.
Maybe that's why I'm helpful in some regards. I'm just like, just do it. Yeah. I think having a coach or an ally to help you with money is so important. Having you things to bounce ideas off of, right? And then of course, Amanda does the app thing. So that's really important.
Yeah. So now, Brandon, I want you to tell a couple words about the app that you use to do more weightlifty kind of things, and how it's a little different than mine. And then I'll relate that one to money.
Yeah, so I use an app called Fitbod or something like that. And I learned about it from our mentor and coach, like you did from another person, right? Mark Willis, who you've heard on our podcast. So he told me about Fitbod years ago. And really what it does is it tells me step by step what I need to do for that day, how much cardio, and I can set it to certain goals that I want. And I'll do cardio and weightlifting, and it'll tell me to do bench presses and this amount and that amount of this and that. And so I just really just follow bench presses, push-ups, sit-ups, whatever it tells me to do. I just do it, and I don't have to think about what's next on the list that I got to remember to do, because I already do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Amanda wouldn't like it as much because she's creative, maybe in that regard.
Yeah, let me jump in there. So Brandon loves that because he can just go to the gym, follow directions. He doesn't have to think about it. And there are financial methodologies out there like that, where it's step by step. Now do this, now do that. You could totally do that. For me, being a little more entrepreneurial, creative, rebel, I do not want somebody else telling me what to do. So I like the 30,000 foot view picture of run, walk, run. Right. And then I can tell the app, here's what I want to do. Here's how I want to progress. And then the app matches me and what I want to do. There are, I think, things in the app where they're like, let's train for a 5K. And I could totally do that. But there's also this way that I can say, here's what I want to do. Do this for me.
And I've adjusted my app along the way too.
So with money, you could do that as well. If you're familiar with the podcast, you've been listening for a long time, we love sharing the big 30,000 foot view picture of here's the financial concept. Now work that into your life. And here's some ways you can think about working that into your life. And so as my journey develops, I'm going to stick with those 5 core things. Prep work. I'll probably reach a plateau and I'll need to go back to some of that mindset or technique kind of things. Dedicated time, making sure I have it on the calendar. I'm doing it regularly, continue to grow. Micro adjustments, continue to adjust a little bit over time rather than trying to, switch and change overnight. Getting into that state of flow where I'm experiencing that, the brain chemistry and all those things that happen when you're in the state of flow. And then continuing to use tools that have been developed with years of wisdom. And so if you're looking for that for your money, I want to let you know that we have something for you.
Yeah. And if you want our tool developed with years of our own wisdom, plus years of wisdom over the ages, this is again, Wealth Wisdom Financial. It is right here. You can get that right now at wealthwisdomfp.com/still. And you can find it in the links below, wealthwisdomfp.com/still. We also have Financial Freedom Hour within our community where we practice this together, like a running club. I mean, we're not literally running while doing money talks, but maybe that would be a fun exercise.
No.
But Financial Freedom Hour is where we come together, again, like a running club, and we do the STILL method together.
Yeah. So we're playing around with an idea right now with the Financial Freedom Hour. It's live twice a month. It's not recorded. You got to show up live. We're playing around with the idea of creating these more as pre-recorded guided experiences where you could pull it up on the app on your phone or on your computer and then go through it step by step with some music in the background, all those kind of things. And basically what Jeff has done with running, Jeff Galloway with that running app, we could do something similar with our tool that's called the STILL method. So if you'd like to get that, you'll be the first to know about it if you could download the playbook. It's called the STILL method playbook, and that's available at wealthwisdomfp.com/still.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about the Financial Freedom Hours, please let us know and we'll help you find that too. And again, like a running club, it's where we can come together, kind of say, hey, I'm having this problem or that problem, and how can we work together to grow in our running with our finances?
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next episode. Stop throwing spaghetti at the wall financially for kind of an intermediate level. So you don't want to miss that one coming up next Friday. And may you live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.
It's also not meant for running advice or physical, that kind of thing.
Talk to a doctor, do all those things.
Or a running coach, because we are not those. So talk to Jeff Galloway if you want to know how to run like Amanda.
Yeah, he was just in Cincinnati. We might get to meet him next time for the Flying Pig Marathon here.
Cool. Awesome.
See you guys.